Welcome to Mark Daily. I am Joel Okitwi, and these are the headlines. Passion fruit growing boosted by a hand for a refugee in Changwali refugee settlement devises new methods to take the practice to the next level. Children at Risk Action Network, CRANE organization, aids children in Nakaseke remain academically stable amidst the pandemic. A student and businessman, in this week's episode of Your Story, we dive deep into the life of a man who happened to be both during the lockdown times. And for our first story, refugees are normally known for high dependency, low income generation, and shortage of business initiative. Changwali refugee settlement is the pivot of our attention today, as a hand for a refugee offers a fundamental game changer to the situation of the refugees. Kevin Githuku reports.
Changwali refugee settlement in Chikube district, Western Uganda, hosts about 123,000 refugees from different African nations. Over 80% are living under poor socio-economic status due to low levels of income. A group of MasterCard scholars from Makerere University, known as a Hand for a Refugee, are here to offer a solution where they introduce modern agricultural skills through passion fruits growing to raise income for the refugees in order to eliminate poverty and facilitate education for their young ones. I spoke to the founder, and this is what he had to tell me.
My name is Safari Libya, a MasterCard scholar at Makerere University, doing Bachelor of Arts in Economics. Changwali refugee settlement, most of the people fail to have a meal and fail to even take their children at school due to the low levels of income. My team and I, we came up with a Hand for Refugee, which is aiming at introducing modern agricultural skills in the refugee communities. This is through passion fruit growing.
I inquired to find out how many people exact are on their program and how this program is expected to impact their lives.
So far, 65 farmers are on our program, and we expect by the end of this year to be earning beyond 60% of their income.
I also interacted with some of the farmers who seemed to be committed to the project, and their response was quite promising.
Chenye mimi natarajia niliona ni kikundi cha mzungu mtu anaweza faidika ndani. Basi kama Mungu anatujalia tunalima ile matunda inakomara mzuri, mtu hawezi kosa kwa faida.
Okay.
Na kusema mtu ikare haiko mzuri, mtu haiwage chenye kitamponeshaka. Ndio maana nilisema siwezi ikara na mimi nikiende mbona nijishururukie nione kama na mimi nitafaidika mwenyewe.
In a nutshell, the refugees look forward to developing themselves sustainably through this project brought to them by a Hand for a Refugee team. Their children also look forward to going to school and being able to sustain themselves all through their academic lives. Reporting for MCI, I'm Kevin Githuku, Changwali Refugee Settlement, Western Uganda.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for that report. In our next story, the education sector has suffered gravely under the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. This has left very many young learners in jeopardy of continuing their studies. With limited instruction, limited infrastructure and resources, they have peril as they continue to learn from home. However, Children at Risk Action Network, CRANE, in Nakaseke district, has a fundamental idea that could avert this situation.
On the 18th March of this year, all schools were forced to close due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Since then, learners have been distanced from their teachers and classrooms. In an attempt to allow continuity in learning, a non-governmental organization called Children at Risk Action Network rose to action and started educating learners of Nakaseke through providing self-study materials and scholastic materials to different schools that supply them to learners in the area.
Amanyi agange nze Namatovs Livia kola n'ekitongole bakita CRANE kirwanirira eddembe ly'abaana kitumbula okusoma kw'abaana. Ekitongole kino kikolagana n'amasomero mangi.
Learners take their work for marking and corrections on a daily basis.
1 + 2, what do we get?
Besides that, The organization provides basic needs to different families in the area. The organization not only caters for those in school, but also school dropouts.
Najjingo Fiona, I had dropped out of school while in senior 2, but when I heard about Crane, I decided to join it. They offered counseling and guidance to me that boosted my morale to go back to school, and I was able to complete my O-level. Before COVID-19, Crane had offered me an opportunity to join Vlora PTC to study primary teaching. However, during this COVID-19 season, Crane has provided me with a tablet that I use for online classes. So I thank the organization for the support they are providing to us as children.
As much as the organization has been able to achieve all that, it has also encountered some challenges, which include inadequate airtime to send phone messages, and some parents going to their workplaces with their phones, yet some of the work is sent via phones.
Genda nosindikira omwana waaka ate ng'omuzadde essimu yagitutte. Obuzibu bwe tulina obulala abazadde beena abamu tebalina ssimu.
Mrs. Livia advises parents to always contribute what they can when such organizations come to help.
Kyosobola okukolera omwana ng'okumuyambako ewaka ku waaka muyambeko.
Fengaffe ab'ekitundu Crane tujagadde nnyo eyongere amaanyi mu misomo gy'abaana baffe era amasomo tegaddirira.
Do you know that it takes a whole community to battle illiteracy and lack of education? Miriam Najjingo, Mark Daily.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that story. And in this week's episode of Your Story, we dive into the life of Eli Kwijuka, who happens not only to be a dairy businessman, but also a student. We dive into his life, into his trials and triumphs in as far as promoting his business is concerned. And he represents one among the many who suffered the fires of the pandemic but rose from the ashes all the same.
Forget the galaxy and think the land of milk and, well, milk. The well-being of a nation depends on the well-being of the natives. Unfortunately, the occurrence of the global pandemic has affected nations to the core, and small towns haven't been left unaffected. Eli Kwijuka is a resident of Kachiri Town Council and a student dealing in milk supply for survival. Talk about an oasis of milk. He shares with us how these tough times have impacted his life and his business as well.
The government actually stopped all kinds of transportation and we faced a lot of losses due to the fact that our customers are no longer coming to our business.
Eli needed an instant solution to stop the losses, serve his clients and remain a rule-abiding citizen.
So doing, what we happened to do was to make sure that we use the borders to deliver milk to our customers.
Seeing as transportation had also been cut down, liaising with border riders became a convenient solution to not one, but 4 major issues all at once.
Even this one solved an employment problem. Even the milk is no longer going bad. Even we're no longer making losses like we used to be.
Eli's testimony piqued my curiosity and the need to talk to one of the border milk suppliers. When the going gets tough, only the tough get going. Having found a solution to the losses in the milk and border businesses, Eli and his local delivery team confessed to being happy to have problems solved, happy clients, and still be able to observe the Ministry of Health regulations on social distancing.
Join us next week on the next episode of Your Story. Yaddah Wanjiku, Mark Daily.
That's it for the news today. Thank you for keeping it Mark Daily. Join us again at 7 for the news in Luganda. I remain Joel Okitwi. Good afternoon.